Please subscribe and you can download this code from description below. Title: Passing one argument to a 2D array of functions in Python and getting results in a 2D array of the same size. Introduction. In Python, it is common to work with arrays and functions. This tutorial will guide you through the process of passing a single argument to a 2D array of functions and obtaining the results in a 2D array of the same size. This can be a powerful technique when dealing with large datasets and performing operations concurrently. Make sure you have Python installed on your system. You can download it from python.org. Save the above code in a Python file, example function _array _example.py, and run it using the command. You have successfully learned how to pass a single argument to a 2D array of functions and obtain the results in a 2D array of the same size. This technique can be adapted to various scenarios where parallel processing of data is required, offering a flexible and scalable solution. Feel free to customize the example functions and input array to suit your specific use case. ChatGPT. In this tutorial, we will explore how to pass a single argument to a 2D array of functions in Python and retrieve the results in a 2D array of the same size. This can be useful in scenarios where you have a collection of functions that operate on individual elements of a 2D array, and you want to apply them to each element efficiently. Let's start by defining a set of functions that will operate on a single argument. These functions can perform various operations, such as mathematical calculations, string manipulations, or any other tasks based on your requirements. Now, let's create a 2D array that holds references to these functions. Each element in the array will be a function. Next, we'll define a function that takes a single argument and applies each function from the 2D array to it. The result will be stored in a new 2D array. Now, let's test our implementation with a sample 2D array as input. In this example, the input array contains a mix of integers and strings. The functions from the function _array are applied to each corresponding element in the input array, and the results are stored in the output _result array. Feel free to modify the functions and input data based on your specific use case. This approach allows for flexibility in handling different types of functions and input data in a 2D array context. ChatGPT. In this tutorial, we will explore how to pass a single argument to a 2D array of functions in Python and collect the results in a 2D array of the same size. This technique can be useful when you have a grid of functions and want to apply them to corresponding elements in another grid of data. Let's go through the steps with a detailed explanation and a code example. First, we need to create a 2D array of functions. Each function in the array should take a single argument and return a result. For simplicity, let's create a 2D array of basic functions that multiply the input by a constant factor. In this example, function _array is a 3x3 grid of functions. Next, we'll create a 2D array of data that will serve as the input for our functions. This is a 3x3 grid of numerical data. Now, we'll iterate through the elements of the function _array and apply each function to the corresponding element in the data _array. The results will be stored in a new 2D array called result _array. After this step, result _array will contain the results of applying the functions to the corresponding elements in the data _array. Let's print the original data array and the resulting array to see the outcomes. This will output. In this example, each function from the function _array was applied to the corresponding element in the data _array, and the results were stored in the result _array. Feel free to modify the functions and data arrays according to your specific use case. ChatGPT. In this tutorial, we will explore how to pass a single argument to a 2D array of functions in Python and collect the results in a 2D array of the same size. This can be useful when you have a grid of data and want to apply a function to each element of the grid. Make sure you have Python installed on your machine. You can download it from python.org. Let's start by defining some simple functions that will take a single argument and perform some operation. For demonstration purposes, we'll create two functions, one to square the input and another to double it. You can, of course, replace these functions with any functions that suit your specific use case. Now, let's create a 2D array of functions. We will use a nested list to represent the grid of functions. In this example, we have a 2x2 grid of functions, where the first row consists of the square and double functions, and the second row consists of the double and square functions. Next, we will implement the operation of passing a single argument to each function in the 2D array and collecting the results in a new 2D array. This function takes a single argument arg and the 2D array of functions function_grid. It then iterates over each row of the grid, applies each function to the argument, and appends the results to a new row in the result_grid. Now, let's test our implementation with a sample argument. This should output. This result corresponds to applying the square function to 5, 25, and the double function to 5, 10, in the first row. In the second row, we applied the double function to 5, 10, and the square function to 5, 25. You can modify the functions and the function grid according to your specific use case. Congratulations! You have successfully implemented a Python program that passes a single argument to a 2D array of functions and collects the results in a 2D array of the same size. ChatGPT